So I don't expect you to dig a pit, but this was here, so it seems like a good opportunity to talk about soils a little bit. First of all, this is a good site because you can see some horizons, right? The layers in the soil. So we have just the organic matter, no mineral component in there. So this would be the O horizon, O for organics. But then notice this dark layer, right? It's got organic matter mixed into it, which gives it that dark color, but there's definitely mineral, right? Sand grains and soil particles in that. So that would be our A horizon. If you've been in a place that's been plowed before, this will look really distinctive. The old plows used to go 9 inches deep, really deep, and you'd get this plow line, right? So if you're in a former agricultural field, you might notice that. And then this extensive layer below, in this case, this is our B horizon. It's got a lot more clay in it, right? Less organic matter. It's a weathered horizon. So take a look at this color. I'm going to grab a little sample and put it in the bag, and we'll take it with us to a next site not very far away from here that has very different soils, and we'll be able to compare it. But I did want to show you soil texture, right? That texture refers to how much sand, silt, and clay are in this site. And associated with this video is a little flow chart that you can follow along. And so I had used my trowel, grabbed a little handful of soil, pretty dry, so you can use your water bottle, or I had a little squirt bottle. So you don't want it dripping wet, right? But enough that you can kind of play around with it like a Play-Doh. Okay? And so following through that chart, it says, can you make a ball out of it? Yeah. And then it says, can you make a ribbon out of it? So what you're doing there is squeezing it out between your fingers. And it's a little bit longer than the inch, but any more longer than that and it breaks. So it's making a 1 to 2 inch ribbon. And then following it down, it says, does it feel real gritty? A little bit, but not real gritty. It's actually kind of smooth. So the grittiness is sand. There's some there, but not a whole lot. The smoothness is silt. Right? So the fact that it's sticking together, that's clay doing that. Right? It's like modeling clay or Play-Doh. So that's the clay. The smoothness is silt. And our flow chart tells us, based on what I was doing, that that's silty clay loam. Right? So the loam means a mixture of different things. Kind of neat. Don't worry about getting your hands dirty. It's fun to play with the dirt. So keep this guy in mind, right? This is a soil. I'm on a ridge top. It's formed in place from the weathering of sandstone here. So it's going to look very different than the next soil that we're going to look at. So I'll see you there. So we're a pretty short distance from our first soil pit stop. Remember that soil, I told you it was formed over sandstone. I brought a little sample of it here to compare it. So in contrast, this site has a limestone layer. Actually, it's kind of a capping layer, and it kind of causes the groundwater to kind of just perch on top of it. So this is a much wetter site than the previous one. So let's see what the soil looks like here. I have a soil probe. Very different, right? Compare the colors in a minute. I think you can already see that. But look how moist it is. I don't have to squirt it at all. And look at that. It'll just keep making this ribbon as long as I keep squeezing it, right? So this is clay. Let's take a look at the color differences here. So that's pretty amazing how close together we are, and we have such a different environment, right? So different parent material, different moisture levels, gives us very different textures, different colors. Kind of neat.